had enough.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general out in the middle of nowhere?
That's what I was doing. I actually had a pistol in my hand at the time. I was really ticked off. When I was having this fit, I was waving the gun in the air, okay, and I had this fit. And at this moment, I said, okay.
He was a Louisiana man named Montaldo. Folks around called him Six Gun Joe. Worked with ICAR, don't you know? Investigating UFOs. Out for a drive with a gal one night, they stopped to check out a reporting site. When an alien lit right there on the ground, commenced to throwing his weight around. Now, old Six Gun didn't take too kindly to that kind of thing, especially without Vaseline or anything like that, you know. Seriously. Well, Six Gun looked that critter right in the eye and said, "Any last wish before you die?" Yells, reached for his gun, quick as a twitch, and said, "Fill your claw, you son of a bitch." Now a legend spread across the land about this pistol-waving man. But if you're from space or from Earth below, you don't give no lip to Six Gun Joe.
Well, you drove out there into the middle of nowhere and had some sort of loud verbal display challenging ET in general.
Yeah, it loops automatically.
Oops.
It loops automatically.
You got to be able to turn that off, can't
yeah,
you?
No, I think it's made like that, I guess, in case you want to put a long song.
I'll find a way to undo that. Hold on here. Let's see. 3 dots. Boom. And
I think they do it so that like for the music, it just keeps going.
It's background music. It runs in the background all the time.
See, it says loop. Oh, there it is, right there. Loop track. I just turned it off.
Did you? Oh,
yeah.
Well, we
can't. It says right behind, right underneath background music. It's got the volume next to it. Has loop track. And I just turned the loop track off, so hopefully it won't do that anymore.
Oh, I see it.
Yeah. So anyway, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to. I was going to say news on the flip side. Welcome to UFO Undercover, guys. Some days it gets confusing. We host a lot of shows these days, so
we're both on at least 4 shows on this network.
Science and Beyond is going to be coming back just like once a month, just to catch up on. It might even be once a quarter. Just depends on how fast technology is moving. Somebody asked me the other day, since the war is going on, will we do a technological boost? Well, it's kind of cool because we've got the first 2 days of the war on video. We're going to save it for Friday night. All the bombing attacks, how they did this, how they did that, how they did this, use of aircraft, things like that. It's very interesting.
Joe, Heidi's at McDonald's. What do you want?
Oh, Heidi, I want a chocolate malt. Oh, well, I have to settle for a shake at McDonald's, but still. You know what? Maybe
you're not going to get a true malt there. You'll get you'll get a thing that's called a milkshake, but there's no milk in it. It's like 2 different yeast-like products that
it's yogurt, man. It's yogurt.
Yeah, it's a yogurt type of thing, but it mixes with another enzyme and it turns it either chocolatey or vanilla-y or what have you, and then they freeze it. Yeah. Zero milk.
Yeah. When I was a manager for McDonald's way back in the day, those machines, you had to break the machines down every day, and then you have to grease the inside of the machines so that they work properly. So you have to use what they call edible grease. If you ever drink something,
it's like Vaseline, right?
Yeah, it's like Vaseline. So if you ever drink something, you feel like a little chunk going in your mouth, and you think it's just chunk ice. No, it's not. It's the grease. No, I use my oxygen machines were great because I'd get on people's ass. I could get a rag, get in there, and wipe it off. It's not get the shit out because I eat the damn shakes there. I didn't want to eat that. I mean,
We're
sure.
old enough to remember when they actually had a for real milkshake, when they would actually
Well, you
they
can
had
still
a
get.
machine where they would put the metal cup in there and it would spin it. They don't do that
You,
anymore. That was like 40 years ago.
no, you can still get them. I mean, in New Orleans, there's several places where you get real. Now, let me tell
Not at
you what.
McDonald's.
No, not at McDonald's. You can get one.
That's what I'm talking about. We're old
Yeah,
enough
you
to
get
remember
one.
when
Yeah,
McDonald's
yeah.
had the proper ice cream, milkshake machines.
Yeah, McDonald's just for some reason, and malt's such an easy thing. It's one scoop. And
Scoop of
blend it
powder,
up.
boom, pow, done.
It's one of those things, and they didn't have to do it that way. If they really wanted to, they could just have one machine that just made milkshakes. Just put the mix in at the start.
I think they use the same machine for both their ice cream cones and their milkshakes. Yeah.
Yeah, it is. It's the exact same machine. When I was there, I forgot the name of the yogurt. It was a particular type of yogurt they used. It was actually pretty good for you, but they've kind of down.
Not with the stuff, not all the sugar you put in it. No.
Yeah, they've kind of down. It's like Linda was telling me about Hershey's now is getting rid of cocoa butter out of their Hershey bars and going with some crappy oil. Hey, people cutting back. It's just one of the things. We'll talk about all that on Friday. This is
really a food point. I was about to say it's a food point.
Hey, Heidi.
Good aliens and bad aliens. Did they see the background?
Oh, Heidi, have you tried that new hamburger?
Look at that.
I know it has badass background, huh? Y'all, have y'all tried the new McDonald's? I have not. The one that the CEO cringed when he bit into it.
Yes, I tried it.
Isn't it good? Somebody said it was very salty.
I didn't notice it was very salty, but McDonald's food as a whole always is. It's fast food, but it was different. It didn't suck, but it was huge. I couldn't finish it all in one bite. I did it half, and then several hours later I finished the other half.
No, that's a good thing.
Oh, it's huge. I mean, it's like I'd say it's a little bit larger in diameter than the Whopper, which I think the Whopper is the largest burger out there in diameter after being cooked.
Yeah, the Whopper is. It's been downsized some too, but oh no, Jack, the quarter pounder is a third smaller than it was when I worked for them. Yes.
Yeah.
It's still a quarter pound of meat, just the bun smaller. So by making the bun to fit the hamburger, they can put less lettuce, less condiment. All of that adds up when you're talking about selling 1 billion burgers a year. It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway.
Oh, well, I did notice. Oh, no, we'll say Saturday. We'll talk about McDonald's food sauces.
Yeah. We do a whole segment on sauces. Jesus. So look forward for that on Saturday. I'm gonna let Jay pick the topic for the chat this week. So he's gonna set up the archive. We just found that out, by the way, while we were talking just a second ago. That's what I was telling y'all. But well, I do it every week. So because we do topics and we can talk about whatever we want. So he can set up what he wants. He knows that. God knows Heidi will probably say something crazy and make us switch topics. But one of their mothers, like Carol, likes to always say something crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Mark or somebody. So we're just talking about people in the chat, guys.
So what do you think, Joe? Good aliens versus bad aliens? What's the consensus on that from the UFO?
So what is so for us? Okay, in the alien world, what is a bad alien? In the human world, what is a bad alien? So most humans, if you ask them, anybody who abducts you without your permission is a bad alien. Well, I can, in a way, I can understand that logic. But when someone abducts a polar bear to make it healthier, is that actually a bad person abducting that bear? Now, speaking of that, I seen a video just today. They were releasing a bear that they'd gone out and abducted and did all kind of stuff to it and put it in the cage and then let it out the cage. That bear went apeshit. He tried to turn over the trail. He was looking for it, put him in that cage. He was going to eat somebody's ass. And maybe think of Bigfoot and the aliens. But when you get into the aliens, it's there's always been a lot of rumors. First off, there's that rumor about them road grays that work with the men in black. Well, to the grays, they're evil. The grays think they are, beyond evil. Don't live within their society and don't think like the regular grays do, that hive mind, logic, Vulcan type thought they have with a little.
And they may also be privy to information we are not.
Oh, I'm sure they are. Well, the original one was said that I know one of the control group studies ICAR did suggested that they broke away because they didn't think any race had any business being here. Once the race became sentient, we should have left. That was always their stance. that there should be no one here in a screwing around in our society.
Still, though,
regardless.
it seems now, okay, so these rogue grays, let's just say perchance they had a war in the heavens above the planet Earth with the other grays, the other faction, and they were banished here to Earth and became the fallen angels of the Bible. Is that what
Could
we're
be.
talking here?
It could be. It's hard to say because we do know they seem to be on Earth. You don't really hear about anybody talking about being taken to ships or anything. Maybe that's where the Dulcie legends came from.
Maybe, yeah.
You know, who
I
really
still haven't found it yet, but there is a story out there that there's a news clipping with the article that I read at least a couple of years ago that says how Phil Schneider lost his fingers on his left hand, and it wasn't because an alien went like this and hit him with a laser beam and gutted him like a fish. Those are his words.
Yeah. Well, Jack, there was. See, I could have bought that story if I didn't know anything about the Greys, but knowing their mental abilities and even their physical abilities, no human has a chance against them. Do you realize?
As far as we know, the one tool that I've ever seen them use or seen a diagram of that item has actually been shown in a few UFO documentaries. And it's just a hand laser that I think they use during surgical and medical procedures when they experiment on, you name it.
Yeah, well, they got that needle device. It's not. I hate to call it that because it's not really. It's just like a pen. You know what it reminds me of? You know those what do you call them? Things you use to write on your pads and stuff. Those
a stylus.
Yeah, it reminds me of one of those. It kind of looks like it actually, just with a sharper point. But it has some energy. They also use it to put people out. So the Greys can put you out just by thought, but a lot of times they just take this thing and touch it to your temple, and you just like freeze you in your place. It doesn't even look like you're breathing.
Now that's the one thing that is valid in all of, I think, Betty and Barney Hill?
Yeah, Betty Hill, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. The one thing in her testimony that she says is when they did the amniocentesis with the needle, which again indicates my labs, she said the man touched something or touched her forehead or temple and she felt no pain. She probably went to sleep, which is why.
Yeah.
So maybe the Men in Black, the My Labs have that technology too, but
more than likely they just put her on an IV or something. And
whatever it is, they put her out. Yeah.
Well, they weren't going to leave her awake for that kind of procedure. She'd probably flipped out on her. Jenny, in the Hills case, in the Hills case, there was a lot of discrepancies about what was said and what was done, and there's no doubt that Barney was a contactee. Yeah, I hate to say it because I liked Betty, but I don't think she was a contactee. I think she was just a wife, just a spouse. The couple contactee thing didn't come in till later. It didn't seem it as this became a field and people got to meet each other. And started remembering each other from the ships and started having relationships, then things changed. Well, they changed because, you now have contactees in relationships and the real world, not on the ships, but here on Earth. And they're working with each other to remember things that's happened to them. They recover information a lot faster that way. It just puts a unique perspective on the actual contact. And the Greys have to figure out, okay, now we've got a husband and wife, a girlfriend and boyfriend, or boyfriend, whatever. What do you mean, Chris? You've never heard about a gay person being abducted? Well, I have. Yeah, I have actually. More than one, to be honest with you.
They don't care what the person thinks they are. They want the person's DNA straight up. They don't care one way.
They're abducted in family lines. So whatever you are, and you could be Hitler, you could be Mussolini, you could be.
Wouldn't matter.
What's his name? Jack the Ripper. They don't care. It's they're there for what they're doing.
They may have Jack the Ripper's DNA. They may even know who he is.
He might be working on another world somewhere. You never know. Yeah. Well, we don't know what they do with humans. We do know when humans die, they upload the consciousness into a host body. Well, they call it a husk body, not a host body, but husk meaning
a husk or a container.
Yeah.
Temporary container.
No, it looks like you, sort of, mainly. It varies in the fact that it depends, I guess, what planet they're sending you to. Some bodies might be stockier, some may be thinner. But they do look
depend on the specific gravity of the planet, I would imagine.
Yeah, and they look younger. It's like they de-aged you or something. Yeah. But if you have like kids, see the kids there are grown. Yeah, it's a strange. Well, this was a stumble thing. I had heard about tubes, rows and rows of tubes on ships with bodies in them, and everybody they were all kinds of theories. Oh, they were eating us. They were doing this. They were doing that.
Yeah, those stories came out in the mid 70s, I do believe.
Yeah. So and they were everywhere. And then so we started a project in late 90s to see if we could just figure out what it was. So, we always pre-program contactees for questions and stuff like that. And we usually do 50 to 100. In this case, we did 100 of them just to see if anybody could find out what was going on. Well, one of the contactees, it started with one gentleman who, we actually tell people, here's the question. Think about it all the time. Think about when you're washing dishes, when you're getting in bed, just think about it all the time. That way, when the gray picks you up or whatever alien picks you up, you'll beam it into their head without thinking about it. A lot of times because it happened that way, they will answer without thinking about it. Now, most of the time, it's no big deal. They're even kind of like, wow, look at our contactee and what they did. Sometimes they do get pissed about it, though, depending on what it was. Maybe it was something you weren't supposed to know about. And there can be repercussions for that. Usually it's not mental, it's physical. I mean, usually it's mental, not physical, but still. There tends to be repercussions, usually some sort of pain. But regardless what it is, these people were starting to, the more the question got asked, the more times they were willing to show them these areas on ships that were millions of square feet with just body after body after body after body after body after body. And the way it was explained is when you die, or at the moment of death, actually said up to 3 days after your death, they can remove your consciousness and upload it into the husk body. That way, they're not cheating anybody. In the old days, they said that they did it differently. They would just take people. Now they wait for you to go, and then they take your consciousness. That way, nobody's missing you out of sorts.
So who was the first? It was the one book that's been banned from the Bible. What's his name's grandfather's name? Noah's grandfather.
Oh, I can't remember. Oh man, I'd have to ask Linda. She's better at religion than I am.
Not Ezekiel. I want to say Ezekiel, but it's not Ezekiel. Jesus. And it's not Jesus either.
What's that, Johnny?
Enoch. The Book of Enoch.
Oh, Enoch. Yeah, the Book of Enoch. I forgot all about the Book of Enoch.
Yeah. It sounds a lot like the Book of Enoch, what we're talking about there. Is because he was the first one allegedly, but he wasn't. The way it's described in most ancient texts is he was taken physically by his physical form, not his spiritual form, which would be, as it were, downloaded.
Well, no, they can take you physically and take your content, put you in a tube next to it, and just transfer it over. So there's a couple of things that go on ships that we know about. We know that humans can be uploaded into husk bodies for training purposes off the ship, on the ship, and in the hologram rooms. We also know that they have the ability to upload your body into the hologram itself. So instead of being in a body that can be damaged or hurt, they can put you into a body to learn that can't be destroyed. It's very interesting stuff. They can also, if they want to, store your consciousness on their, whatever they call a hard drive.
Computer, yeah.
I doubt it's any kind of hard drive we know about, but I bet you it's like some type
Let's just say media data storage system.
Yeah, very large one. And anyway, so they have those three options, and they use them regularly. But once you're dead, the only option they're going to give you, they may store you for a little while. Maybe it's a long trip, or whatever it may be. But once you get loaded into that husk body, that's your body. Now, there are some advantages in the fact that the brain capacities, I understand, are doubled or even tripled. So your psychic abilities are activated when you put into these bodies. So there's a lot of training goes on. They're putting you on mixed worlds where there's multiple. It's right out of Star Trek. It's multiple humans living on the same worlds, and humans have colonies in several places. From what they're talking about, not only as their colonies, but for at least 5,000 years, they've been establishing human colonies all over the place. So it's a good chance when this human race gets into space, we may meet our own ancestors that are more ahead of us.
The minimum amount of, and it's probably more, but it's spoken about not only on the internet and YouTube by some of those rogue, like they're kind of like AI videos that talk about the Federation of the Nine and the Galactic Federation and all that. They're Council of Nine and the Galactic Federation.
Council of 15 now.
Yeah,
it keeps growing.
But it's also part of the Star Trek lore, and the fact remains that it's starting to seem more and more like that. But in the Star Trek theme, it's this is the Federation is described as having something like 120 host solar systems and 80 or so host species from those 120 solar systems.
And
It's
then, you know,
probably way more than that because the solar systems are, I mean, the galaxies are bigger than Gene Roddenberry's imagination back then.
Well, no,
but that's partly, you know, it can't be, that's not 100% inaccurate.
so in the Generations era, they had explored 20% of the known galaxy, and it had only actually, I think, less than 8% actually had physical setups. Might have been 10%, but it wasn't a lot.
And what did Voyager do? Like 4% of the other side of the galaxy?
Yeah. So yeah, and so it's what was it, Borg in the Delta Quadrant, right?
Delta Quadrant. Yeah, that's what I was trying to fish for that. I couldn't remember it.
Yeah. So that would be, oh Jesus, 500 light years, probably more than that.
It's
500,000.
It's at least 70,000 light years.
I'm thinking more like 500,000 light years. No, second. The galaxy is only 160,000 light years across.
Well, they may have had some inaccurate data, but in the show, I believe it's 70,000 light years. They get thrown over into. Yeah.
Well, when they did the show, the galaxy was only 100,000 light years across. Now it's 160,000 light years. They added another arm to the damn thing. It keeps growing. Well, at first they didn't even know we were eating other galaxies. They just couldn't figure it because there were stars, you know, especially red dwarfs that were showing up in places where there was no star nurseries and, you know, big quantities of stars. They're like, what the hell is going on?
Yeah, like where we're at. Well, there's a whole bunch of them around us.
Yeah. Well, we're eating, the Sagittarius galaxy has been eaten by us. It's dumping stuff in. It looks like when you see it on the picture, it looks like it's about a full third inside of our galaxy now.
Yeah. Well, and we're between the Sagittarius arm and the Orion arm, which is, Orion arm is probably the home part of the Milky Way. And the Sagittarius arm is probably what's left of the Sagittarius galaxy, which we could be a part of. We could be pulled from that into where we're at from the Sagittarius arm, or we could have been in the Orion arm and pulled into where we're at from the, you know, collision with the other galaxy. One or the other is true.
Yeah. Yeah. So no, what he's saying is, Denise, is so when the Sagittarius galaxy was being pushed into the arm, it could have pushed us out, because it's really funny that we're out here by ourselves. When you look at this,
only solar system like ours in the between the two arms. Everything else is red dwarfs. Yeah, look in the star maps.
Yeah, but when you look in between the arms, there's not much out there. It's mostly just blank space. There are a few solar systems, but not a lot. Just like a handful. And
I think there's a couple of white dwarfs nearby, which are stars like ours that have collapsed.
Yeah. So no, our star can't go supernova. It doesn't have enough mass. Yeah, so.
No, but it will collapse and become a white dwarf.
Yeah, first it'll become a red giant and engulf Earth and all the way up to about Mars.
Yeah,
it'll make Mars habitable.
Mars.
Yeah, it'll make Mars habitable. It'll make all these solar system, all the moons of Jupiter and Saturn.
Well, but also once it shrinks to a white dwarf, all those planets, all that debris will primordial disks will occur because of the gravitational field of the new sun, and new planets will form.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what happens. Well, there's 5 billion years of life left on our sun. 3.5 billion as we know it, and then 1.5 billion.
Something else tragic happens.
Unless something else tragic happens. Yeah. And about 1.5 billion of changing to red to white before it finally dies out.
Eventually, I think when it dies out, it becomes a brown.
Yeah,
brown dwarf.
Eventually, it'll just become a big lump of coal in the sky floating around. Yeah, just a big dead ball. Yeah, I always thought stars die different ways, but I was forced to concede in a debate that that's not how they work.
Well, probably at first that's what they taught early on. I think that's how I was taught, is that all stars eventually will go supernova. Nope.
Yeah, Jack. No, a star has to be quite a bit bigger than ours to go supernova. Yeah.
If all of what's in Jupiter made part of our sun, it would be probably twice as big, and then yes, it would probably, when it collapsed, would go supernova.
White giants, things like that, blue giants, they tend to go supernova. Well, a giant can be in a magnitude 1,000 times larger than our sun. Yeah, suns vary. So most yellow suns are kind of like ours, and reds and browns, but whites and blues can get. Well, remember, blue's the hottest flame, not white.
Yeah. And also check this out. There are Jupiter-like planets out there that are bigger than the sun, our sun.
There are planets that could turn into small suns. Not Jupiter; it don't have the mass. But
it would need more. Yeah. Way
maybe,
more.
but there's some out there 100 times the size of Jupiter. Yeah, they could become suns. Well, they seen one that was orbiting near a sun, and it like pops on and off. It's like it's trying to ignite. Mm-hmm. They don't know if it's. At first, they just thought it was something natural, but a couple of scientists said they're not sure. It's almost like somebody's trying to jumpstart a sun, a planet. I mean, to turn it into a sun. Well, brown dwarfs are kind of useless. I mean, you got to be like right up on top of the thing, like where Mercury is.
Yeah, they're from according to astronomers, they're very impossible. They're almost impossible to find. But there is allegedly one they think wandering within our solar system, possibly.
They thought there was, but now since there's no mass, no gravity masses, they don't. Well, no, okay, Bruce, let me clarify.
Well, something still tugs on the outer.
No, that's what I was getting ready to say. So they do think there's a planet out in the Oort cloud, not a sun, though. They think it's a planet. And for a couple of reasons. One, if there was a sun out there, it would be turning the Oort cloud into liquid water all the time. That's not happening. So you would see sheets instead of rocks. So that's not going on. And the gravity tug is not enough to pull Pluto out of its orbit. With a brown dwarf would actually have the strength to pull Pluto and Charon out of its orbit.
Yeah, so, probably so.
But they do think it may be what we consider Nibiru, a planet maybe 3 to 5 times the size of Earth. Now, is it a big frozen ball? That's possible. Is it a planet that somehow is alive out there? Come on. We didn't think Pluto was going to be a living planet, but the son of a bitch is alive. It's got liquid water. It's got atmosphere. It's got gravity. I mean,
it turns out most of the planets have some sort of an atmosphere, whether it's thin or waning or not. They do almost all have them.
Yeah, I think Mercury's the only
Venus
one.
Venus has the most thickest.
Yeah, well, including except for the giants,
the gas giants. Yeah, of the inner planets.
I don't think Mercury has one though, Jack. I think Mercury is the only planet that doesn't have an atmosphere.
Mercury is too close to the sun to maintain one. Its atmosphere is basically within the atmosphere of the solar wind. So
Mars does have an atmosphere, very thin atmosphere, but it does have an atmosphere.
Moon has an atmosphere.
So it's just. Well, I mean, some things are just going to be exposed to space, and there are going to be moons and stuff that don't have anything but open space. But they're going to be, I think, really and truly in 1,000 years, actually probably just 100 years, we're going to be quite happy with what we find on the moons around Saturn and Jupiter. As it stands now, they do look. Some of it does look like it could be terraformed pretty easy. I mean, relatively speaking, compared to Mars or Venus. Venus is an undertaking. You got to cool it down, and Mars you got to heat up. Not only that, you've got to lower the pressure on one and raise the pressure on the other one. Either one of them, you can't live there without a suit. And I'm not talking because of the air. I'm talking about because of the pressure. So you got to wonder, because, some of the things that other contactees have said and some of the people in government we've heard talk about Greys walking around on the surface of Mars without suits. So my question is this Gray, is there something they're wearing that's actually skin tight that we can't actually tell because it just looks like it's skin, or is it something else?
Well, there's the speculation that they are able to have some device that allows them to at least interact in most atmospheres.
That may be
however,
possible.
Yeah, the Anunnaki had no such devices, but in Star Trek, in the animated series, if you remember, they had those belt things, and then when they would turn them on, there would be like a yellow glow around them. So if the atmosphere was poisonous, they wouldn't die. So Star Trek had that, but it's kind of the idea. What it might be. The data is mixed. There's people who say that the suits, it's like a thin, almost metallic shirt. It's been described as where we allegedly have developed Kevlar from. But some say it's like a gill kind of mesh that the suit itself filters the atmosphere around the creature's body, so he's able to breathe in the atmosphere. It's described that way. It's described sometimes as maybe it's an electronic device. We don't know. It's just, but it seems like maybe their clothing is also grown like a living organism, and it's like a tree. It absorbs,
Well, Well, we
negative
know that-
atmospheres. I don't.
well, we know the energy beings intervened in their evolution, so it's a good chance that their bodies just do this. They may have made them because they were trying to end the war amongst a lot of planets. Not everybody breathes oxygen. Not everybody's gravity, not everybody's environment is going to be friendly to us. But in the Gray's case, they may have been genetically modified.
We're based on carbon. Other species based on other minerals could be possible, particularly like silicone is one of the next possible ones. And if it's a silicone one, it more than likely is going to be of a natural, artificial nature.
What do you mean, Jeff? You don't know what silicone is? Silicone is sand. On Earth, that's what silicone is.
That which we make into glass.
Yeah. And microchips and all kind of other
and
shit.
That which also by natural, planetary, and meteorological and geological processes becomes quartz crystal, which also we use for retaining memory in computers and watches and cell phones. And just about every bit of our technology right now is based on that kind of quartz-enabled memory stuff.
Mm-hmm. So that's bringing us back to, that's what we're talking about this, John. So when you talk about good aliens versus bad aliens, what constitutes a bad alien? To another alien, not to us. So why do the reptilians and the humans have fear of the Greys? I mean, after all, Greys like 3 foot tall. Even the mid-sized ones are only 5-6 foot. Frick, normal reptilians 8 foot.
It could only be for one of two reasons: superior technology or superior strength. And we know by looking at their bodies, the great aliens do not possess superior physical strength, but they do possess superior mental ability strengths. That over and above and beyond what little the reptilians and other human alien types can do.
James, those stories are true about the Greys grabbing a 250-pound man like a potato sack. Those are true stories. But we're not talking 250-pound man when we're talking about a reptilian. We're talking about an 8 foot, 600-pound freaking muscle.
Well, some of them can be 10 or 12 foot tall and all solid muscle.
So the thing about it is it's, well, no, I'm not saying a taller Gray won't, but they don't need to. All I have to do is think about it and they're dead. Or put them in
they can maybe do like a hand gesture, even just like pick you up like this with their telepathy and then go and point at you and send you 500 miles that way.
It's just,
whatever velocity they choose. They can shoot you like a bullet.
Well, whatever it is. No, well, see, Donnie, we had the same impression. In the old days, we just thought the Greys were everybody's little personal slave. And then we found that the Greys came much later than the reptilians or humans. And then we found out, thanks to many people have been taken, that every time a Gray's present, even a 3 foot Gray, and there's a reptilian or human present, they will put their head down as they walk by and lift their head back up out of a sign of respect. I'm thinking that's out of a sign of fear.
60s and 70s, the lore was going to the pretty much that the fact that the alien triumvirate was the reptilian aliens, the insectoid aliens, which we know to be possibly a misidentification of a different type of gray alien, but then also what was called the Zeta Reticulan Greys, are the ones we talk in particular. It was alleged that these Zeta Reticulan Greys were subordinate to the other two in the group of aliens. There's the 3 different alien species that work together. They were the subordinate. That's not true. It's the other way around. The Reticulan Greys are allegedly been told as a galactic parasitic race, which latches onto a solar system and it pretty much enslaves any natural beings in the solar system and siphons all the usable, non-regenerative resources, gold, precious metals, and fissionable material. Basically,
Jimmy,
they raped the planet, what has been said.
So look at it like this, Jimmy. So races closer to us in technology will be looking for a lot of stuff that Jay just mentioned. Races that are, say, 1,000 years ahead of us will be using different types of materials. Gold is great, and it's a great conductor, but I would imagine, like we use semiconductors now, that an advanced race will have something that's more conductible than gold. And it may be made out of a combination of things, or maybe something that they found that we don't even know exists yet.
Well,
that's the real problem.
The whistleblowers, the UFOs that we've had have no visible traditional electrical wiring whatsoever.
None of them did.
There's fiber optic devices all throughout the building connecting these devices, or throughout the UFO, connecting these devices to the craft, but that's it. And I don't even think they know how that still works. Although we do use it now to transfer data and television and internet and radio and internet. Like if you ever go to the movie theaters and they have the internet radio, that's coming through fiber optic cable more than likely if you're in a big city area.
So did you ever look at it like this? Part of their ship would be like Bluetooth, and part of their ship would be wired. So let's say as an instrument you're going to be using, more than likely how that's connected to the ship is through a fiber optic system. But how it's connected to the computer system and everything else in the ship is wireless. There is no connection. And the 3 craft that we know about for sure, there was no physical wire from underneath the instruments to anywhere else in the ship. It just didn't exist. Now they're thinking inside that wherever the instrument was, it was probably fiber optics, because in one of the crashes they found fiber optics. But again, I think that was a shuttle, not a ship. It was either a cargo ship or a shuttle, because there's nothing known to the universe right now that can knock a gray saucer out of the air. Nothing that possessed nothing natural. I mean, they fly through space.
We have evidence of that, as a matter of fact.
And so
you seen that video? It's the most recent ATIP release.
Oh, the one where it hits it, yeah.
A Patriot, is it a Patriot missile, or I forget which? It might be. I forget the name of the missile, but the missile, a Hellfire missile, I believe, hits
Hellfire,
it. The missile breaks apart and diverts off into one direction. The craft loses its trajectory, but the debris from the missile kind of suspends in midair, and instead of falling to the ground, it stays with the UFO and goes in the same direction.
Yeah, it was probably caught up in whatever field was around the craft itself.
Correct.
So, well, okay, so that would be a good alien, right, Marco? Because it didn't blow the living shit out of whatever shot at it. So you can't really say it's a bad alien, because that was a stupid human taking a shot at what appears to be an extraterrestrial craft, which they learned a valuable lesson. 2 lessons, actually. One,
well, okay, but here's the scary thing. If it's not an alien craft and it's one of ours, that's almost kind of scarier.
Yeah. Gene asked me that on Friday. No, we'll talk about all the new updates in the Chinese and Americans and how the war is going on, all that lovely stuff.
Yeah, really. Here's a good question. What would a Democratic president do with if they had that kind of a craft that can't be shot down by a missile? They'd probably use it to take over the United States, I would think.
Probably. Or to protect transgenders' rights and blow up all the white
Yeah.
people.
They'd do something stupid.
No, Jackie, but I
think also it's a perspective thing, because I mean, like you and I have been researching all of these subjects for years, between us 80 years, I would say. But so like in the 50s, it was kind of the alien question was that they were conquerors. They were here to do all kinds of evil. Oh gosh, the door just opened and here comes the dog. Hey, buddy. And then I think in the 70s, it kind of switched a little bit, where it was, the reptilians now were the bad guys, not so much in the 50s and 60s, it was like big, ugly monster type aliens. But in the 70s, in 80s, particularly, it was more reptilian type creatures, and then same with the 90s. We haven't really gone back to like the big brained, little gray alien things, but the next iteration after that is the giant purple guy in the Marvel universe, Thanos.
What, Michael? No, I mean, it's just it gets complicated, because okay, so if we go backwards, I mean, let's go backwards all the way to Mesopotamia, to Sumeria and Egypt. Start of civilization as we know it. I don't actually think that was the start of civilization, but we'll use it as far as we were taught, that was the start of civilization 5,000, 6,000 years ago. Modern civilization. Now, we do know, because things found recently, there are cities older than that on the planet. But we'll use these for argument. So all 3 of these races talk about different aliens. So in the beginning, they talked about the human aliens and the reptilians. Now, this one particular reptilian picture, and I know you heard Jay and I talk about this, he's carrying, we'll call it a purse, because that's what it looks like. I'm sure that's not what it is.
Mm-hmm.
But this reptilian doesn't just show up in Mesopotamia. He shows up in the Middle East. He shows up in South
Central
America.
America.
He shows up in Africa. I'm saying he, it could be a she as far as I know, but regardless, it's
I think there are
pretty much
depictions
the
of both
same
he
thing.
and she creatures of that race,
He
both
even-
human and reptilian that carry that same we'll just say bag, but they also wear a rosette wristwatch on both wrists.
It's like a communicator.
And
It looks like a Dick Tracy communicator watch, man. It's I
or
don't know what it is.
well, it has 8 pedals on it in every instance, no matter where you find it, and so it either it's an 8-hour day or an 8-day week counter.
Or it might just be keeping track of the reptilian's heartbeat. It might be his heart monitors. Damn humans stressing, man.
Who knows? It could be a radiation monitor. We don't.
Could be.
But knowing from our technology, if you want to infer something, it's some sort of a counter. It's whether it's a watch or a stopwatch or like, oh my God, we've had too much sun. Go back into the UFO
So
right
now
now.
remember, people, this is the reptilian. This isn't a human alien. This isn't a gray alien. Now, in all these cultures we were talking about, they were revered. They weren't hated and they weren't feared. So we've always been taught to fear
They were
reptilians.
revered, if anything at
Yes,
all.
they were. The Sumerians, not the Sumerians, the Mesoamericans thought they were the bringers of life.
Yes. Well, so did the Sumerians.
So the thing about it is, well, yeah, because Sumerians talk about the human aliens, the humans that were created and the reptilians interbreed with them to create the species that's here today.
Most of what's in the Enuma Elish is what is the core of the Judeo-Christian Islamic Bibles.
Well,
Think
Mike,
about
you're
that,
right.
people.
Well, Mike, you're right. The Sumerians are the creation of life. At least that's a story, which we know now isn't exactly true. But they supposedly created the 7 creations of life, with the last creation being like us, not us, but like us. They looked like us. But they didn't act like us. They just followed blindly without asking. They did what they were told. They could procreate. They could make beer and food and plow fields, but they didn't really understand anything. And then the reptilians started stealing the women, raping the women, and the children were born different. They were self-aware and aggressive. Eventually, they overthrew the Sumerians.
Flight, fear or attack mode. Yeah, absolutely. That's the reptilian part of our brains.
So the thing of it is, reptilian part of our brain does a lot of things, including enhance our intelligence. Without it, we'd just be dumb animals. You have to have the combination. Well, no, there's an insect.
I don't think does the gorilla brain have the reptilian aspect of it?
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
Think so. I'd have to look and see. Oh, Mike, if I told you how much money I won off this, we have a reptilian section in your brain, you'd be embarrassed, man. I've given lectures in front of tenured professors telling me that's not true. You're making stuff up. I'm like, really?
And brains donated to scientific society, and they slice them this way, they slice them that way. It looks exactly like, it's larger, but it looks exactly like the same type and shape of brain that you'd find in an alligator or a frog.
Yeah, y'all hopping around bumping your asses, huh?
Although frogs are amphibian, they have a similar type of brain pattern or similar brain shape.
So anyway, now that's hostile aliens to each other. The reptilians and humans did not really care for each other before that, and after that, I'm sure they were even more pissed because the reptilians just took their slaves away from them.
Well, allegedly, the Anunnaki type human alien humans are at war with the Zeta Reticulan Greys, and they don't really care much for the whether it's insectoids and the reptilians, whoever the other 2 groups are. They're not friendly with each other. Period.
Yeah. Well, no one's allowed to fight.
It's basically 3-on-1, to be honest.
Yeah. Well, now nobody's allowed to fight with each other. The light beams will send the regular Greys into
Well, there's still conflicts going on because allegedly
they will not. If you start any fighting, it's in the group of the thing. You can be made extinct.
Well, the last
that's why they won't let us into space.
And it's still a rumor, but I don't know if you heard it or not, or you remember we talked about it. But the last rumor was that the Anunnaki type human aliens they had some sort of conflict going on at their homeworld, so they left the planet.
Yeah, and I'm sure people want to say that be left because the reptilians kicked their ass, and then the Greys stepped in, and there wasn't no reason to be here anymore. But they're still here, though. That's the problem. They are still here. The reptilians are still here. The humans are still here, and the Greys are still here. No one's actually left. I mean, there's still abductions happening every day. So we know those stories aren't really true stories. As a matter of fact, a lot of the stories are not true stories. It's just that people stuff have added in for whatever reason they felt the need to add it in. But according to all three of the races, once the light beings took control of the council or created a council, that was it. Anybody who joined signed the thing. If you were an aggressor, they had to wipe the right to make you extinct. Kind of a bitch. Well, because the way they explain it when the light beings got here is most of the galaxy was at war.
How are they going to do that though?
Easy. They're light beings. Think about it. You're dead. They don't even have to beat it.
Yeah.
Well, John.
So it'd be like a "We Are the Metrons" thing from Star Trek. They just go,
people don't understand.
Yeah.
People don't understand. The closest thing, Metrons is a good one, and Q's a good one. Would be the closest thing to light beings.
Well, I mean, wasn't it the Metrons in the Gorn episode where he made Captain Kirk fight the Gorn captain at the end? They're like, you want us to kill the other species? And he's like, no.
Matter of fact, and the new Star Trek, Strange New Worlds, the Metrons show up in one of those episodes too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I missed that one.
So, what's the little girl, the pilot? She crashes on this planet, and there's a Gorn there, injured Gorn.
Oh, yeah.
And they become friends. Well, you kept seeing this light throughout the series. You'd see a light. Right as they're getting ready to beam up, the Micron stops everybody and comes down and talks to her.
It was reminiscent of that. That episode was reminiscent of the movie with Dennis Quaid and I forget the black actor's name. Was it Lou Gossett Jr. I think.
Oh,
Alien Mind.
Yeah, Enemy Minds. That was a good movie. I like that movie.
Yeah.
It wasn't Jack. It wasn't a bang them up, blow them up. It wasn't a very beginning when they shoot each other out the sky.
It was two alien pilots. Lou Gossett Jr. played this weird reptilian faced alien with all kinds of makeup on, so he didn't know it was Lou Gossett. And then Dennis Quaid played a human starfighter, and they were chasing each other, trying to kill each other, and they both lost control and crashed on this either a planet or an asteroid, whatever. And in order to survive, they became friends.
Yep, and Lou Gossett had a baby.
Yes, and Lou Gossett had a baby. Yeah.
And he ended up dying, but the baby got brought back by Quaid and read out the lineage, and the war was over. I don't know. I guess they realized that, stop killing each other.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the light beams, from what they were saying, the light beams were very aggressive because the galaxy they came from was either dead or dying. So we always were under the understanding that they came here from a different galaxy far, far away. But now we realize that's not exactly what happened. One of these galaxies that crashed into ours, which is dead, some of them are dead.
Absorbed.
They came from there. Yeah. They're not even native to the Milky Way, and they're over here setting the rules. Well, because the Greys said it themselves. They said there was literally 50,000, 100,000 worlds just blowing the living shit out of each other constantly. There was no peace. You couldn't even cross space without being attacked. And he said the really bad part is that a lot of the races were equally technologically advanced, so there was no winning. Yeah. So when the light beams got here,
forever.
So when the light beams came here, they found the Greys, they modified the Greys, not just their physical selves, but their technologies, and sent them out as the galactic policemen. They are still the galactic policemen today. If you break the rules, they will come do bad things to you. Because the council agrees there will be no more fighting in this galaxy.
They are shown in the Stargate universe not to be so much police, but sort of avant kind of, they don't really stick their nose in things unless it's really necessary. And then when they do have to stick their nose into things, they're complete badasses, and whatever's nearby that is an enemy is wiped out within seconds.
Yeah, they said a war that raged for hundreds of thousand years was ended in less than 5 once the Greys got to numbers. Well, the Greys now have colonies everywhere. Now, some colonies may be strained, but they're all the same Grey. See, this is what happens. It's like the reptilians. There are literally reptilians all over the place, and they're different tribes or different things, but they all originally started on one planet. God knows where, because they don't ever say. Just like with the Greys.
Well, one of them is they say that the solar system Zeta Reticuli 1 and 2. Those two. Zeta Reticuli, I actually think, is a trinary system, but only the two systems, the Zeta 1 and Zeta 2, are the
Yeah, when you ask the Greys, they say that it's colony worlds. They come from the other side of the galaxy. Actually, from the way it's explained, they're on the edge of the galaxy, far away from us as you can be.
Well, that makes them the Borg.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Just more advanced than the Borg. Even the Borg.
Yeah, and because we still don't understand their biological / clone technology, if you will. It seems like they're kind of a combination of sexual and asexual reproduction. And by asexual, what are they grown in tanks? Maybe at some stage. Are they clones?
They're not clones. No, they're not. So the way they explain it,
but not really. But
no,
it's like
the way they explain it,
biological drone.
Well, I never understood the clone thing anyway. So why would you clone something when you can take multiple DNAs and combine them and just grow something new? And if you do it that way, there's never any clone degradation. I think, cloning was the thing that came out of the 60s
you have to make
and
enough
70s.
of a population to make it a viable, breeding.
That's what I'm saying, though. But you already have grays. You've got hundreds of millions or millions of grays. You take 1% sample from each one, you can create bodies for the next, for as long as the time exists, because the combinations between them are endless. And every time they have a child, it's more endless. And we've learned that the hard way. That's why they said
they must have been around long enough to have deleted depleted all the possible combinations in their DNA. That's why they're collecting ours. But they're not collecting just ours, but other species as well.
No, the grays. Well, that's probably just for catalog for the same reason we do it. But the grays, they were just modified, is what they were.
Yeah, but
they were already very advanced, but they.
So here's
modified.
a good question then. Listen, the National Genealogical Survey that they did was supposed to end. It was funded until I think 2020, and I don't know when it started. 2000 maybe, I don't know, but they had been going for a while. They finished their survey of mapping the entire human genome 7 years short. So since it was a contract, they got paid out those other 7 years as bonus pay because they finished in 2013. So if we did that in say 13 years, and they've been here for hundreds of thousands possibly, why are they still trying to map our DNA?
They're not mapping our DNA. No, they're not.
They're collecting it.
They're not mapping anything with our DNA. They could give a good shit. They're not even allowed to interfere like that.
Well, then why are they taking us and doing genetic experiments on us?
They're not doing genetic experiments on us.
Yes, they are.
Now you're not paying attention to what they're saying. They're not modifying you.
They're directing our genetic evolution.
They're changing you through. What's the word? Oh shit! I forgot the word now. It's through a form of telepathy.
Methodical breed out.
No, what they do is because their brain power is so much stronger than ours, they can just passively change us just through thought. They don't need to do anything else. They're not allowed to directly interfere in our DNA because what happened before could just, the reptilians, the humans got in deep shit for creating us in the first damn place. They almost got exterminated because of it. They almost let the reptilians exterminate them because you're not supposed to do that. You're not supposed to create a species. You're not God. You're an extraterrestrial. And they found shithole on that because you never know what they're going to create. You could have created something that could wipe you out. And you know what? In the end, they may have created something that can wipe them out. In a million years, we may come back to kill them all.
The aliens, some of the alien species are afraid of our species in general because of an alleged ability that we may or may not possess or may not eventually possess through evolution. But yeah, it seems like that if they're afraid of us because we were built as warriors or whatever.
Well,
if we're dangerous, we haven't gotten to our real dangerous side yet, but we're pretty dangerous down here. That's for sure.
We're stupid, but we learn things quickly. You give us something, we take it apart, we figure it out pretty fast. And as our technology goes along, we figure out things faster. So what happens in 500,000 years or even 1,000 years when we've been collecting all this data? I mean, our every 2.5 years, we double our knowledge.
We're due for a break if you want to do one at 8:08.
Yeah. Oh, okay. We'll go in a second. Now, Jackie, it's hard because we know humans started out as brown hair, brown eye, brown skin, positive blood, and we're pretty sure it was just one type.
And also early on, before all of that too, was short, stocky, thick-boned, thick muscles, and now we are thin-boned,
like Neanderthal
and lean muscle.
No, Jackie, there was several were bred out. They weren't murdered out. They were bred out. So
Right
yeah,
out of-
this So in the beginning, everybody thought like Neanderthal and a couple of the other ones were murdered, but then they found out they had been bred out.
Well, and only
later
because
on,
it
'cause their
just in
DNA
the
shows up.
geological record, there are several archaeological sites where scuffles between different species had occurred, and there were dead bodies of both on each side of the battlefield. So there's like anywhere else on the planet, we were battling, each other through for dominance or territory or breeding stock, even.
Jesse,
What if a group of Homo sapiens went into a Neanderthal camp, killed all the viable males and took the viable females, and boom, there you go. There's your breed out.
When you listen to the alien races talk about the light beings, they sound like, well, I can't even use that word on the show, but they don't sound like they're all sweet and nice. They really sound like that. They're not even supposed to be okay. Something to do with the way their existence is. They're not even supposed to come to Earth. So
They're like
what
angry
they do,
Q.
yeah. So what they do is, and I don't know if y'all are familiar with Babylon 5. One of the aliens in Babylon 5, the Vorlon, had ability to take a piece of itself and put it inside another alien. So that's what the light beings do sometimes. They may put it in us. Usually it's not us, though, because they say it burns out humans too fast, even a small piece. In other words, when you hear somebody say, oh, I had a light being, no, because you would be toast. You'd be dust. The energy they give off is nothing our bodies could handle. So what they'll do is they'll take their cells off, a piece of their consciousness, and stick it in ours, and they can see everything that's going on. They can even suggest that you do things while it's in there. Because even a piece of them is still more powerful than we are. And all the aliens fear them because they can kill with thought. And worse than that, they can kill with the kind of thought where you just don't exist. Not that they wiped you out, that you just fucking don't exist. Excuse my language, you just don't exist. They can think no solar system. Guess what? Your solar system is gone. Like it was never there. And they have the ability to kill not just one of you, but all of you, wherever you are in the known area in the universe or in a galaxy. They can kill you by thought. They have some ability. The Graves explain it that they can. The underneath of the fabric of our galaxy it's all connected. They have the ability to catch that connection and ride it anywhere into the known galaxy. The Grays are learning that, but the Grays will tell you that they can do it like in a local solar system, but they can't do it in the galaxy. So these guys are dangerous, but they want to live here peacefully. They said that they don't want to be in a galaxy full of people killing each other. In a way, they sound new agey, but in a way, they sound.
They sound
anyway,
authoritarian and new agey.
Yes, they do. That's a good way of explaining. They're like mom and dad saying, you know what, I'm gonna go smoke some marijuana tonight, but you're 18, you can't do that. Oh no. But anyway, we gotta go to break. You got a song? I gotta get a song. I'm not even paying attention.
No, I didn't. I was
we're gonna play
on the conversation. To be honest, really.
Go find like one of the to start. Oh no, you mean B&N? No, because they're all 15, 20 minutes long.
In the show, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love playing them, but you have to skip through them and stuff, and some of them are funnier than others too. Like the one with Elmar, whatever her fucking name. Oh, damn it, whatever her name is it's hilarious. I seen one today. We haven't
looked for a redneck Star Wars one, have we?
No, we can play that. I also seen the one.
They're short though. They're only like 2 minutes.
Well, no, they got. Oh yeah, the redneck ones are. What is the disco one's 5 minutes? No, they also got. I was gonna forget what I was gonna say now. Damn it. Well, no, the B&M one I watched today was Kamala Harris and Trump in the debate, and the whole time they kept switching hats on her head. One time she had a red mega hat. One time she had a blue vote for Trump hat. Yeah, it was ignorant. It was ignorant. Well, these are
and there's stuff I can't find it. I'll do Star Trek.
While you're doing, okay, go ahead and do that. I was gonna just start playing commercials, but I'll wait for you to do that. Oh, look, we got a new commercial up here. 2 new ones. All right. We'll be back. Jay's gonna play that when it's over. I'm gonna pick up the promos, and we'll see y'all in, I don't know, 5, 6 minutes, 7 minutes.
Oh, here's one I don't think we've seen. Red shirt boogie.
I don't smoke marijuana. I don't know what you're talking about. It's bad for you. The stage is now empty. See, look, I can make people think I'm not actually there.
Uh-oh. It's ghost talking tonight. Oh God, you split into 2 again. Where's the damn? There it is.
God dang it. I wish when you set these avatars, they would stay.
Yeah.
Put my true face up there. There it is. There's Joe.
All right. And we go here. And then where the hell are we going to throw that up? And you ready? Red Shirt Boogie, Voyager's theme.
Oh, I heard the Voyager one. Yeah, that's cool.
Oh, Scotty, beam me up in this red shirt named Fred. We all know the poor guy's likely ending up dead. Captain Kirk's all charmed with the phaser set to stun. Flirting with the cosmos, making Romulans run. To boldly go where no one's gone before. The guy we don't know's gonna kick the bucket for sure. Star Trek Boogie, we're cruising through the skies. Poor red shirt's doomed, you can see it in his eyes. Mr. Spock's calculating with a stare that's serpentine. Predicts the red shirt's doom faster than can be foreseen. Bones is always grousing, I'm a doctor, not a chef. But he's patching up the crew when there's barely any left. To boldly go where no one's gone before. The guy we don't know's gonna bite the dust once more. Star Trek Boogie, we're cruising through the skies. Poor red shirt's doomed, you can see it in her eyes. The red shirt's been to planets, gone quicker than you think. Zapped by salt-sucking monsters, or a Gorn in a blink. Sulu's at the helm, twisting through the skies, while Chekhov points out which red shirts will meet their demise. Uhura's on the comm, singing through the stars so bright, while red shirts trip on phasers in the middle of the fight. Scotty's in the engine room, he's praying for more power. Says the warp core's gonna blow if we don't fix it in an hour. To boldly go where no one's gone before. The guy we don't know's gonna meet his maker for sure. Star Trek Boogie, we're cruising through the skies. Poor red shirt's doomed, you can see it in his eyes. So raise a glass of brandy and some moonshine if you please. We'll toast the doomed red shirts, the Starfleet's finest draftees. With warp drives humming and our crew a little nuts. Star Trek's the wildest ride, engage, no ifs and or buts.
Getting hard and getting turned on are not the same thing.
That is why Blue Chew Gold.
What the commercial is this,
that
man?
arousal begins in the brain, not just the body.
If you felt resistant to ED meds, you're not alone. I know that blood flow is only half of the equation.
Welcome to the Light Gate, where reality bends and the unseen awakens. Preston Dennett, joined by Dolly Safran, guiding you beyond the veil and into the infinite unknown. Every week, we unlock high strangeness, extraterrestrial contact, hidden realms, psychic awakenings, the afterlife, and secrets they don't want you to know. Step through the gate, and if you feel the calling, subscribe to the channel and share it with those ready to awaken.
Dun, 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 dun. Oh, this is a new show. That's what this says. That was interesting.
Welcome to Don't Whistle at Night podcast, where Navajo legends echo in the shadows. Darren and Dawn will guide you through the sacred fire of native storytelling, where the old stories breathe, the unknown walks among us, and voices, long hidden, rise to be heard. And remember, don't whistle at night.
The night has come, it's cold and losing my control. Your light is gone, and lonely darkness fill my soul. I wish that you could save me from my isolation. It's way too complicated. Let's stop this conversation. Let's stop this conversation. We got no relation.
Whoa, man. Welcome back, everyone. I hope y'all like those promos, which is very weird, but I hope you enjoyed them. It was a short little break. That's because I couldn't get Jay to shut up. That's why we took so long.
I didn't realize that song was so short. I ran upstairs to get some more lemonade.
That's okay. That's why I clicked remove. Yeah, sometimes they're really fast. What were we talking about, Jack? Well, I forgot what we were talking about when we went to break.
Aliens.
I was talking with somebody while I was break. Well, it's hard to get to where we are today without genetic interference. So somehow or another, we know that the human aliens at least created a dummy race, and then the reptilians created a sentient race, which technically is us, but technically not, because somewhere the Greys weren't picking up DNA, they were sticking it at us. But how were they doing it?
Viruses.
Type of direct breeding, or was it
viruses?
Well, the reason I bring this up, Jack, is there's a little screwy thing with the time here. So Jay and I have talked about this many times. We know that our race is older, quite a bit older than what we've been talking. I'm not talking about when we evolved from apes or whatever you say we got here. I'm talking about in the last 200,000 years, when we really became a seriously sentient species, not when we were still living in the trees and in the fields and wherever else. The creature that they took to make us is what everybody wants to talk about prior to us. But it wasn't sentient in the way the race they created to mine their fields and, to empty their mines and fill their ships and make their
They
food.
were basically just brutes for brute strength and work, labor, and
it's basically what they were. They have babies and stuff. I
don't even think they were permitted to breed on their own, even because
okay. That gets complicated too, because there seemed to be two prior to that couldn't, but it was taking up too much time. So
yeah,
version before the version. Okay, the version
because the name Adamu, which refers to us, is the first ones who were allowed to breed without checks.
Yeah, so there was the race before the ones reptilian interfered with, created us. That's who was allowed to breed. So I guess that's why the reptilians did it when they did, because they knew those people could have babies. Now, come on, people, we're talking about some kind of hybrid between something they found on this planet and something they created. And we know, according to the Sumerians and the Egyptians, it wasn't a smooth transition because they talk about dog heads and bird heads and all kind of shit on top of human bodies. And then on the seventh creation was the first form of man, which couldn't breed. And then they created another race to make it faster. And then at that point,
hybrid creatures than just that. I mean,
yeah. And then at that point, though, is when the Dogons, reptilians, came down and interbred with the population and created a sentient population. The first thing they did was ask, why am I plowing the field? Why aren't you plowing the field? Why am I doing this? Why can't I just go live off in a village over here and do my own
want to
thing?
learn how to set that bone you just broke plowing your field.
Yeah. So, I mean,
that kind of stuff happened. Yeah.
We became an enlightened species, but somewhere further in the future, the Gray's DNA got into us. It's hard to speculate on it because we had a long time where we were just this dumbed down human race that were slaves, for a lack of a better way of saying it.
Mm-hmm.
And then the reptilians basically gave us our freedom. But because we were started from slaves, even after we got our freedom, we didn't learn our lesson. We just enslaved more people. And then the Greys showed up. And I guess the Greys decided, okay, the human race is not on course. It's got too much of these other two idiots' DNA in them, and it's just driving them. Well, because the human aliens weren't exactly friendly aliens either. And so you have these two species that now make us up, plus whatever we originally came from. And we were kind of sort of more aggressive than we are today.
Essentially 3 aggressive species mixed into one. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, technically, the reptilians aren't supposed to be aggressive. They're supposed to be passive. I hate.
Yeah, but you piss off their arms.
What is their
your arms off?
What is their passive? What we consider passive and what they consider. No, Jenny,
they tear your arms off. That's what they do.
The Greys have a nasty little temper. It takes a lot to set it off, mind you, but they have a nasty little temper. Not as much towards us because the Greys kind of consider us pets, not dumb pets, just pets. The reptilians give us the most. The reptilians consider us a sentient race of brothered relatives. The humans only like certain members that are bred. So whatever family lines, they probably have 4 or 5 family lines that they like from day one. That's probably who they still deal with today. They consider most humans to just be trash, distant cousins. Not the kind of things you want to bring home to meet the galactic consciousness. So, and then you can get reptilians, and you got the Greys. Now, we know we had, like I was saying earlier, there was brown hair, brown eyed, brown skin, probably just one blood type, and it was positive. And was it A, B, or O? I'm pretty sure it was A. And then the reptilians got involved, and we got B, but we still were positive blood. So what does that tell us? Are the Greys actually Rh negative? Is that why they're so much more advanced than the rest of the galaxy? Is that little gift they gave us why everybody's so fucking scared of us? In 100,000 years, we could be as advanced as
is that the so-called apple from the Garden of Eden?
Maybe so. Maybe they're scared, especially the reptilians and humans. Well, definitely the humans. Maybe they're scared that one day we might come looking for them. Say, hey, well, no, they're not gods to us. Even today, even if we knew for sure they created us, we wouldn't think they were gods. What do you mean? What gives them the right? The same thing that gives us the right to intervene in animals all the time. We replenish species now through DNA. We're bringing extinct animals back. We're talking about bringing dinosaurs back.
Which that would be probably dumb, but we did. Yeah. It started with Dolly the sheep. If anyone remembers that, it was 1983, I believe.
Test tube babies. You remember that? I hate to tell you, Jack, they still have test tube babies today. We just don't hear about it anymore. Well, that's the ghost. Where she's sitting back there. She's the ghost.
Wow,
the
that's a long sound effect.
Whoops.
Is that on loop?
Well, I don't think I got a loop on that anymore.
I guess it is. Stop. All right. Sorry. I thought that only would go once.
Well, it usually does only go once. I wonder what changed. Maddie, no, that's sound effects on the computers.
Somebody's doing something cuckoo around here.
This one don't have a thingy. The music, the music has a loop track, but I didn't see anything for the sound effects. Mike, all we know sort of for sure is the three races have been here a long time. The reptilians and humans have been here the longest. Now, if you go by the Dogon's theories, Nemos was here before the humans. They were already on the planet when the humans came here and decided they were going to make a race. What gets confusing is the Dogon are much further in the future than the humans and Greys when they bred, so it's confusing. So according to the Nemos, the Dogon, the Nemos were there when they interbred with the human aliens. Well, how could that be? Because those humans shouldn't have been alive. But on many, many occasions, we've said that was more than likely humanity started in more than one place on the planet.
I've always proposed there has to be more than one Garden of Eden just because of all the different skin colors, period.
Well, the Bible does say how people became black. Yeah, they were given the mark. Yeah, because Cain killed his son or something. I can't remember. It's been so long, but what do you bring that up on Friday. We'll talk about the white people being a plague on Friday. Yeah, let's talk about it. Well, because when you get into those kind of conversations, there's a lot of things that you have to take in consideration, like 88% of all the inventions on the planet, and almost 90% of all the patents. Ooh, I know, ain't that something?
Yeah.
What do you mean? No, let's talk about it on Friday. No, we're not going to get into or Chinese and Japanese white people. That's a personal thing, actually. Really and truly, that is because Asians can go either way. So that's a personal thing. It's how you want to identify. Yeah, that's how that is. Well, it's like the Gray. What would you ask the Gray? Do you call a Gray? He'd look at you like, no, you can't pronounce my name, you dumb human. Well, so a couple of people over the years have tried to get them to fess up. And first off, they say they can't say it verbally. They can only be transmitted telepathically. Because the Greys, how can I say this? The Greys speak differently. So when you hear people talk about telepathy, what do you think telepathy is? Is it pictures in your head? Because pictures in your head's a dangerous thing. If I send an image of a teacup, or if I send a saucer and a cup to Jay, what is the message I'm sending to Jay? It could be a lot of, and this is a simple thing we're talking about, just a teacup and a saucer. But what does that mean to Jay? Is there tea in it? Is there coffee in it? What am I telling him to do with it? He has no clue. He would just be going, okay, Joe sent me a teacup. What does this mean?
It could be anything. Joe's having tea. He's inviting me to tea. He wants me to have a tea. It could be any kind of one of a million different combinations.
It has to be more than just images because humans aren't real smart for that. So, if he shows you, like a couple of images in a town, you can, okay. And there's also not any time reference.
Probably based on something that is galactically universal, like math, DNA, music, things of that nature.
Some science believes that the brain automatically translate through through telepathy, but that doesn't even make any sense. Well, because the Gray is thinking to you in Gray and you're answering in English or whatever language we're talking about.
Well, yeah, it probably is thinking in its original brain language, and then transmitting it to you. Your brain is translating it, and then when you think of your answer, is it translated back? Who knows? Maybe they understand English too, but I would say they probably a little bit of both. It's translated both.
It seems like they send an image, an emotion, and a thought all in one thing. And
But
then you can kind of feel and understand it, sort of.
But they can also hear, can't they?
Yeah, they can hear. They can actually speak too. They just don't.
Yeah.
They have on occasions heard Grays, and when they speak, they sound just like a dolphin. They make the clicking sound. Matter of fact, one of the first hypnosis cases I ever did, I'm hypnotizing this woman. She'd been being abducted for a while. And she said, Joe, I heard him talk. So I took her down pretty deep, like level 8. She was way down there. It's the first time I ever took anybody that low. It was making me nervous. It was a long time ago. We're talking almost 40 years. 36, 37. And she gets under, and all of a sudden, she just starts clicking. It's going away. And Jack said, that sounds so familiar, so familiar, so familiar. So he's looking for tapes. This is before you could look something up on Google. You could, but not Google didn't even exist back then. This is before HBO and all that wonderful stuff. This is the Stone Age compared to today. And so finally, he finds this thing on some TV station, and he turns it on. It's a pod of dolphins. And she hears it, and she changes the way she clicks and changes the style of clicking. Like she could understand what they were saying and started clicking back at him. The whole thing is on videotape. It's on Mini 8 is what it's on. And no, that one wasn't even Mini 8. That was actually something else. But it was the damnedest thing. So we took this and gave it to a friend of ours who gave it to a friend of his that worked at one of the oceanographic societies. And they listened to it. And he said, he said it was some type of dolphin that's found on the other side of the world. And
wow.
Where it came from, he was like, no way. So I sent him a copy of the video. He's like, how is she doing that? She's like, because he actually recognized groups of clicks back for us. So he said, we don't actually know what dolphins are saying, but we know their vocabulary is larger than ours. They think it's around 1,000+ characters. And because it's not just the clicks, it's the tone of the clicks. It's there. And don't forget, dolphins technically are telepathic because they have sonar. Sonar can receive images, but I imagine it can send them as well.
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know that they have an extra thing in their brain right in the front, and they use that to focus that sonar when they bump into the underneath of a shark. They send a sonic blast into it and burst its organs at the same time as they ram into it.
Yes, and then they also use those passive sound waves to cure children. They were showing that one kid with autism in Florida. They got a place in Florida, people, you can go swim with the dolphins. And people swear when they bring down their children, especially autistic children, it seems to heal them. Said the one dolphin walked up and put his nose up against the one kid's neck and started pushing. They got a little nervous. They thought the dolphin. He said, no, the dolphin's not trying to hurt him. And he started popping up and down the side, here, all the way up and here and back and back. So the kid started talking and cutting up, and actually she took him to the doctor. The damage was gone. There was no damage. They documented the whole thing. Obviously, they have an ability that we don't. And people always talk about we're more advanced, but look at it like this, Johnny Bach. They inhabited 2/3 of the world. We inhabit, 3/4 of the world, and we have a quarter of it. Okay, they can go all over. And remember, rivers and lakes are all over the place, and there are freshwater dolphins and saltwater dolphins that can swim in fresh water. So they're everywhere. I mean, they are everywhere, and they are 250 million years older than we are. Their brain is 1.5 size as ours, and they have 2 extra sensories than we do.
Yeah. The ultrasound or sonar being one.
Yeah. So who do you think is more advanced here, Jack? Just because they're passive doesn't mean that they're stupid.
And they're really not that passive. I mean, they are aggressive.
Yeah, not really.
They go for little fish that are, I don't know, what do you say, about a foot long maybe, and they pretty much gobble them whole. They just swim through the school of fish and just and eat until they're full.
And 2 young males will get a harem of female dolphins and rape the hell out of them for days, or until a big male comes along and kicks them out.
Yeah.
Well, it's part of their society. But they are very advanced. And remember, these are animals that have gone out of their way to save humans.
Yes.
So in the old days, one of the Spanish galleons, the dolphins used to get in front and ride the waves in front. And they always thought they were just having fun. But he noticed on one day, the captain noticed that the dolphins were only staying on one side of the boat and kind of pulling to the right, like move. So he got his little thing out and he looked, and just barely sitting out the water was a tiny piece of rock. And he realized they were getting ready to run up on a bunch of them. So he cut hard. And even as he cut hard, he's still right at the back of the boat. They said it tore a hole right above the waterline. And he said, wouldn't have been for the dolphins, they would have died. He said, because it wasn't like there was land there. It was just rocks sticking out the water.
They were detecting with their sonar. They're clicking in sonar.
And dolphins have pulled people out of the water and swam up to shore with people hanging onto their fins. They've rescued children, old people, regular people. This is an
They've killed
animal for what
sharks.
reason? They kill the sharks. So it says something about a species that will come up to a human in crisis and try to save them, when half the time an own human wouldn't jump in the water and try to save them. Best I can tell, the only two animals on this planet that took to man automatically were wolves and dolphins. And in the cataclysm story, the only one that jumped across the cataclysm was the wolf, stand by man, while all the other animals stayed on the other side. And we still don't really hunt wolves today unless they become a nuisance. Well, they did in the West, dude, because they were eating all the cows and the sheep and the pigs and every other damn thing. They need to let a bunch of wolves loose in the South just to get rid of the pig problem they have. Oh, man, they're letting you hunt. A couple of states are going to let you start hunting pigs with drones. They're out of control. In Texas, there are literally thousands of some bitches everywhere. And when you get a big pack together, they go through a farm like, though there's a lot of them. When we used to go hunt, we could kill a couple of hogs in a day when I was in my teens. Today, I could go out and kill 50 or 100. I mean, that's how many more there are.
Was there an open bounty on them?
Yeah, now there is. In some places there are. Well, it was never because they were extinction, because people used to hunt all the time. Deer getting out of control. And, well, technically, the reason they're out of control is because there's now population. So deers are trying to return to their numbers say 50 or 80 years ago, before there was 5 billion of us living on extra on the planet.
But aren't the wild boar also, aren't they predators of the deer?
There ain't no predator, no natural, not in Mississippi anymore. You got brown bears that might kill one every once in a while. You got a little mountain cat might grab one, but for the most part, there's no, especially if you're off the coast where there's no swamp.
So all the wolves and coyotes are dead too then?
No, they got them around, but there's just too many of them. There's too many deer. And they keep the numbers of coyotes and wolves down because of other easier livestock animals. Deers are more work than a cow or a calf standing in a field.
If the deer are populating like that, just let the coyotes and the wolves go unchecked. They'll eat those deer. It'll eventually balance out, right? It's nature, you know.
Then they'll eat all your cows. But they tried that. They actually tried that. That's what they said. The problem was, when the wolf population grew, they realized that the sheep and the cows and everything else and the chickens were easier prey. They didn't have to work as hard.
Yeah, that's true. They're in pens. That is true.
So, I watched. We were going out to check a pod of my chickens out. His chicklets out one night. He got about 100 of them in this cage, 5 foot off the ground. Right, the raccoon crawled up and stuck its hands through the holes and was pulling the chick's legs off, trying to pull them through the hole to eat them. Raccoons are people. You don't even know. Oh, raccoons are cute. Raccoons are crazy animals. I had a family
very
of 6.
Smart.
Yeah, I had a family of 6. I made a move across the bayou. I actually went out there with the gun and I said, "You get one warning. After this, I will kill all 6 of you." So I popped one round right next to the big male. He was big. And after that, they actually got in the water late at night and swam on the other side of the bayou, and that's where they stay. They stay off on my side. And the otters, I had to do the same thing. I had to go out there one day and pop a couple of rounds off in the water because were eating all my crabs. They were destroying my crab traps, because I had pods, and they were eating them all. I was getting tired of it. And they're beautiful animals. So we had a mom and dad and 4 cubs, and they used to come out and roll around on my dock and have fun, and then go eat everything out of my traps. It was pissing me off is what it was doing. I didn't want to kill them, so I just scared them. I actually called Wildlife Fishery and said, "Can y'all get rid of them?" They said, "No, but if there's a nuisance, you can." I was like, "Oh, I thought they were protected. They are not." A lot of things in Mississippi aren't protected. A lot of things have made a comeback in such a way that they're becoming a nuisance now. Well, James, when I was a kid, a lot of people hunted. A lot. If I remember correctly, what Wildlife and Fisheries said, that the numbers of licenses just in this state are down 70%. Throughout all the hunting states, it's down about the same. So that means all that stuff that was being hunted and killed is not now. And it's gotten worse because people have gotten lazy and created things like deer parks where they feed the deer. You can just walk up, pow, oh, look, I killed the deer. Oh, come on. You killed the team. It's like shooting your dog, people. I mean, give me a break. It's not hunting when they're tame, jackass. Anyway, Moving on. What do you think that'll be funny when an alien ties you up to a tree so another alien can shoot you? Or puts out some Hershey bars so while you're reaching over to get your Hershey bars, one can probe you? Do you think that would be fair? That's what I'm saying. I don't know when you say good or bad, Herbie, if there's such a thing. Because how do you judge an alien? So do you say because they abduct people, they're evil? Well, we abduct animals all the time. Shit, we abduct people ourselves. And generally, we don't put them back. I'm not talking about Americans, but I'm talking about other countries. But we take animals all the time. We dart animals, probe them, stick things in places that you shouldn't stick them, give them shots, do all kind of stuff, and then let them loose. We'll take their cubs with them. We don't care. And that's supposed to be a good thing. So when an alien does it to us, why is it not a good thing? Because we don't like what happened? Well, I'm sure the deer or the rabbit or the bear or the lion or tiger didn't like it either. But does that make it evil? No, see, that doesn't make it evil. No, the Greys don't want our DNA in them. I don't know why people say that. They are so far more advanced than we are. And they already have bodies that could be, they have endless lifespans. The only thing that we might be able to give them back is localized breeding. And I don't think they want that. I don't know what happened to Jay. He must have got kicked. Well, people do talk about that, Heidi. People talk about it all the time, that it may be for their higher good. It's a hard argument because, first off, 98% of everyone taken will never, ever know they've been taken. Right off the bat. Hey, Doomsday, welcome back.
I got my computer went all kinds of kaplooey.
I know, it was weird. But 98% of everyone who's taken will never remember. It's only about 2% that remember. And even out of that 2%, about a third of them, maybe less, of 20% of them we would consider very hostile abductions, whereas the other ones are just abductions. Well, I'm with Jay in some things, and why in the hell are they still doing the same experiment? Now, okay, in all fairness, we don't know what they were doing 50,000 years ago, but judging from just the 40-something years I've been involved in this, they haven't changed all that much. They have changed.
We don't even know what the intended outcome is. They're kind of tight-lipped about that.
Well, it seems to be anytime we do anything telepathic, they seem to be very proud of us. So I know they want us to become a telepathic race, and I understand why. Because if you can't lie to everybody, it makes it harder to do shit like what's going on in the world. Now, Jimmy, if every thought in your head is shared with everybody else, and everybody sees what's in your head and say, "Well, you're lying, Jimmy," it makes it harder. Think about doing negotiations. Just think about Donald Trump and whatever his name is, a new Ayatollah talking, and they were both telepathic. It would be a short conversation, wouldn't it be?
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. I think the war would have started probably in 1980 or 79 even.
Yeah, because if they were telepathic the first time, the Ayatollah looked over at Barack Obama and called him.
As soon as he opened his lip, liar, boom.
It could have been a bad thing. We're not ready to be telepathic yet.
No.
We're just not. I would like us to be, but we're not ready. And some humans are more telepathic than others, but we're still a long way.
We're not ready to be spiritual and non-religious.
Yeah, that's for Friday show too, guys. I have been preaching this for a long time. You don't have to be. You can be morally correct without being religious. You don't need religion. Spirituality is fine, but you don't need religion. Religion was invented for the control of men by men. Yeah, they said God did
the same as government. Both were designed, and the King's List were all designed as control groups and control mechanisms to keep the people from finding out the truth and rebelling against their controls.
Jack, the New Testament and the Old Testament are just books. They're not. Everybody said, "Well, God wrote it." No, God did not write the Bible.
No.
And I'm not even sure if you asked him, she or it, if he'd be happy with it. I don't think Jesus would be, because Jesus was definitely more New Age than he was authoritarian. So I'm not even sure if he would be happy with the new world.
And he was arrested for upsetting the money lenders at the marketplace. He overturned, because he found out they were cheating all the people, so he overturned all their trade carts and was arrested for that. That's what he was wanted for.
Jay and I've talked about that too. We think Jesus was older than his 33 years. Because when you listen to his travels, well, he was gone for 20 years, so he left when he was 13. So let me get this right, people. You want me to think that a 12, 13-year-old kid went roaming around the desert and walked all over the Middle East, including going to places like Rome and other places in the empire, along with the Persians and other places at that age? I just know, guys. You wouldn't even attempt that.
Not unaccompanied, I wouldn't think. No, for sure.
You would have wanted to be at least 20 when you started that journey. Okay, this is how you know he was older. So there are letters to the Caesar that was in control at the time, and they were from governors in different parts of the Roman Empire, and they were asking what they should do about this guy. This was a grown man. When you read what's being said, you can understand that they're talking about a grown man. They're not talking about a kid. They consider him dangerous because of some of the stuff, the rhetoric he was spewing at the time, and some of the miracles he had performed. He was considered dangerous. And this was at least 10 or 20, at least 10 years or more before he even headed to the Persians, where he spent a good bit of time with them before he came back. Well, to what's now, what would it be? Jordan? No, not Jordan. I don't know what it'd be today. Israel?
No, Jerusalem.
Yeah. So, I mean, he comes back, and then he gets here, and he's a different person. He's a different man. But remember, he was a Jewish rabbi, pastor, but you can't be unless you're married. That's the rule. Yeah, you can't be if you're unmarried. So he had to have been married to take that title. Now, who he married, y'all can argue about that for days. A lot of people think it was, Mary Magdalene. I don't know who it was. I couldn't tell you. They said they had children. Like, some people think that's a Sinclair bloodline. I don't, because every Sinclair I met's an idiot. And I don't think Jesus was an idiot, so I don't think that's the line. We don't know.
Yeah, there's links to the Merovingian king list or king's race in France as well.
Yeah, and as far as we know, Jimmy, Jesus might have been the start of RH negative. Might have been why he was sent here.
Yeah, could be.
To change our society. Because again, he was not an authoritarian person.
Well, okay, then you make a good point. Well, then why does it, at the Eucharist, drink of this is my blood.
That's right. I don't know, guys. Think about however you want. I'm not anti.
Civilized cannibalism in the church. Eat of my body. Take of this bread. It is my body.
Yeah, if you've been to church, you know what it says. I always thought it was weird when I was in Catholic. I was like, you want me to do what? That just doesn't sound right.
Yeah, I don't want to eat somebody. Yeah, gross. I mean, I'll take a sandwich, but no, I don't want to eat somebody's body, whether symbolically or not.
Jack, we don't make those rules. That's out of our control, my friend. I don't really know. It's hard to say with the Grays and Jesus and I told y'all before I lost a job because I said Jesus could have been an extraterrestrial. A good paying job too. The company spent a lot of money. I just got a raise like 3 days earlier. I was a general manager of the company, and they just said I did not fit in to their program, even though they had been praising me and showing me our company. My store was a number one. Actually, it was a McDonald's, and it was a number 3 McDonald's worldwide. The only ones that beat it out was Moscow, Tokyo.
Wow,
that much money it made. It's on the beach.
But there are no. They pulled out. I do believe there are no more McDonald's in Russia.
Yeah, they got a copy of it though. Have you seen that? It's a copy.
Oh, I'm sure.
Actually, what it looks like is they just kept the stores and changed it around a little bit.
Yeah, rebranded it.
Stupid. It's no, Jack, it's stupid. But hey, Russians like their burgers too. Mm-hmm. What got me is Pepsi got over there first, and then somebody introduced them to Coke. Yeah, Russians have a more hearty society than most, so they would probably prefer the Coke. I like Coke, but I don't hate Pepsi either. So most people either can drink one or the other. I don't really care.
I don't drink either of them, so
I prefer to drink tea. It's like tonight I'm drinking like 5 glasses of tea. Well, my allergies keeps my throats. You can hear it. They have my sinuses, so I'm drinking a tea just to help smooth things over. Jimmy, you know what? I do have a bottle of that saline solution, and it does help. when it gets to where it's about to drive me crazy, like it's all hung up back my throat or something, that shit is a miracle. It just
Or a
flushes your
septic, or
sinus.
even the store brand Equate version also helps with that kind of
Yeah,
stuff.
well, usually I get that, but they didn't only had this one type. This one was supposed to be the kind you shoot up in your nose and it spins around and comes out the other side, but I've got
Oh
it
yeah, the
deviated.
new
No,
Novage thing.
oh yeah, they got that, but this is just a bottle. This is nothing special.
I was
Just
thinking about getting that Novage thing. It's like $99.
yeah. I thought about it, but my doctor said my right side has got a deviated septum because I broke my nose, and so it doesn't work quite right. When I was in the hospital, they found out when I was in the hospital, I had gone in because I had some problems, and they stuck the tube down my nose, and they had to take it out because they thought I was better, and then they found that I was. So they wanted to go down the right side, but they couldn't because they knew the left side was sore. It had been there for like 3 days. Yeah, when they had to put it back, they actually had 2 little girls come sit on my hands because they couldn't give me nothing to pain until after they put it in.
Oh, geez.
Oh yeah, I was my blood pressure shot up to like 235. So the doctor comes in, she gives me this stuff, and I hadn't had no blood pressure medicine in like 3 days. So she gives me stuff. She thought she killed me. The girl said my face just washed over white, and I just got all quiet, and I just sat there. The doctor, you could see the doctor's face turned like she thought she killed me. She gave me too much medicine, is what it was. My heartbeat dropped all the way down to like 45 beats a minute.
Wow.
Oh, doctors are mechanics. They're not perfect. They make mistakes.
They guess a lot of times. They're pretty good on guessing, but not always.
Jimmy, that was 12 days in the hospital, and no one ever could figure out what was wrong with me. Every morning, the surgeon would come by. He said, well, it's not cancer. I don't think it's that. I don't think you can have to have surgery. Let's just let it work its way out. And after about 12 days, it worked its way out. There's a flap that lets things go by and back and forth. It wasn't working right. And it was, yeah. So that's why I couldn't take pills, because they had the thing down my throat and my stomach. It was keeping my stomach empty. So if I'd have been taking pills, it would have just sucked them back up. And yeah, it was a joy. Oh yeah, it was a joy. Walking around with a tube in your nose is, they had me on, they tried Percocet, but it wasn't strong. I think they put me on Darvocet. Yeah, I think it was Darvocet. And they gave me Lortab when I got out, but I didn't take them because I wasn't hurting when I got out. And then they tell me, I love this part. I'm in like 5 days. And she goes, pain meds slow your getting back healthy. It slows you down by about half, and not being able to walk around also slows you down. I said, you're kidding me, right? So I looked up at it. I said, look, I'll tell you when I need pain meds, mostly probably at night. And he said, okay, can you get me one of these that I can walk around with on a battery? She said, sure. So I got up and I'd walk a mile through the hospital in the morning and a mile through the hospital in the evening. And I wouldn't take any pain meds until in the evening time so I could sleep. Because I knew the vampires were going to be coming at 4 a.m.
When I was in for my kidney stone in Frederick I think I was there 11 days, almost 12. I did the same thing. At like 4 o'clock in the morning, I'd get up and I'd walk around. I don't know how many times. I don't know if it was a mile or not, but I'd just walk around the ward. And then they had to give me nicotine patches because I was a smoker. And that is the same thing. I'm like, just, they don't have to give it to me on a regular schedule. Just can I just call you when I need it? And they're like, yeah, okay, good. Bing, I need it.
Yeah, way much.
So they come in and on a regular schedule. I'm like, no, I don't need it. I'm okay right now. I'll call you when I do.
No, Jim, they much prefer when you do it that way. Well, one, it shows you're not a drug addict, and two, it shows you want to get out of the hospital. Well, anything you do when you're in a hospital, you can't let yourself get depressed because it can slow down your recovery. Actually, the truth of the matter was, I know we got to get out of here, but when I got out, because the girls on the floor took a really good care of me, I had 5 different nurses that I seen and a couple other ones that did other stuff. So when I got out, I went to, not Roos, I went to Outbacks, and I bought 12 $100 gift certificates and came back and gave them. Half of them started bawling their eyes out. I was like, guys, y'all took really good. She said, Mr. Joe, nobody ever does that. She said, no one ever does that. And the doctor's like, you did what? I said, yeah, I even got you one, doc. I said, I know you rich, but I got you one too. She was like, I'm taking my husband out to dinner tonight. I was like, welcome back then. I could afford it, Chris. I couldn't do that kind of stuff. I don't have that kind of money. I'm not poor, but I there's been days I've had lots of money. Today, I'm much more careful about what I'm spending because I don't have to go back to work. You want the truth? That's why. Well, no, everything makes money, but you don't. I haven't seen anything about Trump's new. Let's tell you the truth on aliens. All I hear about Trump is Iran, Iran, Iran. Ask me Friday, and I'll tell you what I think about that. Because it's not the show for. Y'all don't understand. When we get too far into religion or into politics on this show, I get lots of nasty emails.
Even though religion and the UFOs are pretty much tied together.
They are. So is politics. But if you get into it too deep, especially if you're getting into like political areas, such as Republican, people get upset about it. And anytime you bring in God and extraterrestrials, they get upset. Because we don't know when, like they say in the Bible, God had there's many rooms in God's mansion. Okay, what does that mean? The daughters of God. I mean, the daughters of man and the sons of God.
Yeah.
Of God. Sorry. And what does that mean?
We should ask
God
Heidi.
are we
She's a
talking
time
about?
traveler. She just came back 3 minutes ago.
That's weird. Probably some bad Wi-Fi somewhere. Well, we didn't even get into the abduction part. We'll talk about that on the next show. But because when it comes down to who's good and who's bad, it's really in the eye of the beholder.
It's perspective, really. The example I always use is the two farmers. One has a good farm, one has a marginally acceptable one. It's about to die. Big storm comes by and kills the guy's good farm, and the other guy's farm is about to die, brings it back to life. Who thinks the storm's evil? The guy whose farm was destroyed. The storm itself isn't good or evil. It just is.
What's that, Raymond? Oh, is it true that reptilian guys like Earth women? Yeah, it is. And as a matter of fact, reptilian women like Earth men. Man, there's a story. We got enough time for it, and it's a little much for this show because technically it's at least R-rated. We had some accounts because real fast. The very first time somebody called me and said, I had sex with an alien. I said, nice to talk to you. Click.
Yeah.
I was, come on, man. And this went on for a while. And then finally I ran into this contact I'd been doing work with. And she said, Joe, I know you're going to think I'm crazy, but I'm going to tell you this anyway. So I said, well, you willing to take a polygraph? She said, yeah. So you willing to go to hypnotist? She said, yeah. So she was, for lack of a better way of saying this, was dating a reptilian. Problem was when she would describe it, when she first started talking about this reptilian, this person I'm dating is so beautiful. It's like, it's almost like it's the attraction's unreal. It's like I'm being sucked in or something. And she talked about him a great deal. But then when I asked her certain questions, she'd kind of like shy away or hip and haw. So I said, next time you're being taken, I want you to reach out. I said, we're going to program this in your head. I want you to reach out and run your hand up and down the arm of the person there. And then I want you to open your eyes and look. Because she said sometimes when she was being taken, she would hear his voice like he'd been taken with her. Well, I don't think he was being taken. I think he might have been doing the one that was doing the taking or knew the people who were doing the taking. But regardless, on the hypnosis, that's what it turned out to be, that he was the one. I didn't even get into this. So according to her and it and some others, he fell in love with a human girl. And they were seeing each other a lot. And something happened. She got pregnant, and then the baby went away, just disappeared. And she went out, had all the work done. She had blood tests done. She had ultrasound done. And even the doctor said in the ultrasound that he might have to have some spinal work done. It looked like he might have had some little protrusions, like some bones were sticking out or something. Yeah, because he's a freaking reptilian. That's why. And then the baby was gone. Just gone. And like every other missing baby, all the hormones were back intact. There was no emotional.
All the secondary and primary signs are gone.
No postpartum blues or anything. It's just, and the people have a hard time because they want to be upset because they just lost the baby. But then, according to the doctor,
it's like they never were to begin with.
And the one doctor got all upset about it. He wrote a big thesis on it because he said, I don't understand how a blood test says you're pregnant. And he said, and then an ultrasound shows that you're pregnant and then you're not. He said, none of this makes any sense. He said, even if there was some type of spontaneous miscarriage or something, there would be some kind of
the secondary and primary signs don't go away overnight.
But then they couldn't find any signs, so there you have it. How many have we investigated? We did I was partially with MUFON, but anyway, we did 5,500 missing baby cases. And what I mean by that, there was more than that. That's the cases we considered that were probably real alien cases. It's always the same thing. You're pregnant for 3 months, they come and check you. If for some reason the baby's not going to be able to be on Earth, they take the child, they fix everything. But if the baby can be here, then they leave it. They will check it 3 or 4 more times before the child's born to make sure, because it's not just deformities or things like that they're looking for. They're looking to see if it's developed advanced psychic abilities.
Yeah.
Because they can't let it into our society if it does. Well, the most famous book I know about it is called Rachel's Eyes. It's about a hybrid, a human that had an alien baby or a hybrid baby. No,
it was very hybrid looking too.
So it's queer how this works. The reptilians, none of the aliens are trying to take our DNA and put it into them. They're trying to take their DNA and advance our society. They don't want our nasty DNA in them. They're already advanced aliens. They have no need for us in any shape or form other than whatever they originally came here for. The Greys are only here because the council told them, get your ass over here and stop an interstellar war. And that's why they came, because the reptilians were pissing off the humans left and right. Every chance they got, they did something to interfere with whatever they were doing, because the reptilians consider this their planet. They do not consider this a human planet. They were here before the humans. We just didn't, you don't hear about them because there's no humans to talk about them prior to that.
Yeah, they were here during the dinosaur times.
Yeah. A lot of people said
probably studying their possible own historical past.
Yeah, they said there were a lot of them here, whatever came here. And some, they said, went in hibernation. Most of them just left. And apparently back 63 million years ago, they didn't have the technology to stop a rock. They probably barely had the technology to get here. But Jack, we don't know. I don't want to say they evolved here. That's not without a possibility. It's just
there's allegedly 2 races of reptilians. One that's called the Draco reptilians that come from outer space. Those are the ones we're talking about. And then there's the Terran Draco reptilian race, which evolved from our dinosaurs and allegedly lived underground, and it maybe possibly were part of Lemuria.
Yeah, so it's hard to say, guys. Well, I won't get into it because there's no way to prove it. Well, see, some things we have enough information for that you can push it out, because when certain abduction criteria that we'll talk about, it's because there's multiple cases, not one case, not 5 cases, not 15 cases, not 50 cases, usually a couple of hundred, maybe even a couple thousand. So it gives you something to do a comparison study on, and it shows you that this is something they do on a regular basis. That was what ICAR was formed for.
Worldwide.
ICAR originally was formed to find out the similarities amongst abductions from all the races that abduct, because that's the only way we're going to ever find out what they're actually doing here. And they only really ever perform any nasty experiments is between puberty and age 28. And even that's starting to slack now. It seems like the age has come down to about 24 now, but it's still starting at puberty. I guess they want to put every human through their paces and make sure they should be part of the program. I wish I knew.
Yeah.
But I don't see any reason to keep abducting our citizens today unless you're just making sure that that's the DNA you want.
The experiment is almost over, they say, but when? Tomorrow, next year, 1,000 years?
What is almost over?
What is it? What's the final conclusion? Our death? I mean, what? What are they doing?
When you hear the reptilians talk, they say we've only been here a little while. Yeah, 60,000 years. That's not really a little while to us. And some people say more like 65 million years. So a long time any way you look at it. I don't know, Jimmy. That's a good question.
What was the question?
So Jimmy basically is asking, why didn't the Greys just punch the reptilian and humans' clock when they first came here and just stop their programs completely? I know that in the beginning, the humans and reptilians were probably abducting 50% each. give or take a little in each direction. The Greys, for some reason, when they showed up, the abductions of the other two races dropped to 10 or 15%, and the difference was made up by the Greys. Now, are the Greys looking to see what the original damage is? Is that what they're trying to figure out from when
They're trying to fix it, or
maybe that's what they are trying to fix. But well, because we're a threat. If we have all three of these species' DNA, we're a threat. That means one day we'll be more powerful than the three of them combined. Think about having gray DNA of their telepathic abilities are crazy.
Yeah.
Well, Jack, first our brains have to evolve to handle that.
They have to grow too. I mean,
Yeah,
probably
they need
have
to grow somewhat, but they
probably
also
have to
need
develop another organ up in there too.
That might be possible too. Or maybe we have something in our junk DNA for it. Because none of it's junk DNA. It's all there for some reason or another. Past evolution, future evolution, it's all there for something.
It's not junk DNA so much as it is they don't know what it does. Whereas all the other DNA that they've mapped, they know what it does. They know what it does.
Last time I checked, it was 4,000 pieces. I'm sure that's changed by now, but it's been a while since I looked. But no, it was 4,000 pieces of what they call junk DNA. Well, no, most scientists would tell you they think it. Yeah. Well, like your appendix. You know, we don't use our appendix anymore. One of those junk DNAs might have ran that for something, whatever it was used for. You know, I don't know. There's always been an argument about the appendix. I don't know. It's still an organ we have.
It may be a leftover from us having a longer gut, having once been strictly a carnivore.
But anyway, it's 10 after. We got to get out of here. We got to let Michelle have her showtime. We're going to get down the road. I hope everybody enjoyed UFO Undercover. We'll be back next week to finish this topic off. Do hope you enjoyed the show. If you didn't, of course, you can always write to Michelle DeRoche. She loves to hear from y'all. It's just Michelle DeRoche at the Outer Realm, and you know, tell her you love her, and go from there. See what she has to say. Christopher, what do you mean? No, she can ask me not to do something. Yeah. Or she gets on me all the time about cursing. Well, I try not to curse in the show. I never, until this year, I never even cursed in the show ever in the 20 something years I had. It's because I curse on the other two, so I slip up here now. Anyway, on that note, we're going to get out of here. Thank you again for tuning in to United Public Radio on UFO Undercover. I hope you enjoyed the show. Go check out the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche. She's coming up. Oh, she should be starting as we're leaving. Good night.
She's on now.
All right.